What if you're sitting on a gold mine and at the center of it all are the dreams, goals, and vision that you have for your life, waiting for you to be brave enough to take control and take the first step? How long would you wait to start reaping the benefits? Your past, even as recently as today, is full of hidden gems just waiting to be uncovered and brought to the light. But only if you take the time to invest in and do what it takes in order to bring them out. Because only you get to decide just how worthy and valuable that treasure truly is. If you want to access it, it's right there for you. But if you choose to leave it, there it will sit. The question is, what are you waiting on? The past is already gone, but the lessons, benefits, and takeaways that you can still get from it, even though it isn't here anymore, are immense. And as soon as you wake up and realize it, you'll be able to unlock the best version of you, but only if you're willing to take an honest look at where you've been and what you're going to do about it. This is the infinite evolution. So today we must talk about the power of reflection, embracing your past experiences and using them to evolve, elevate, and become the best version of you possible, to get the best outcomes possible, to make sure that you live up to and honor the dreams and goals that you've created for yourself. The only way it's going to happen is if you can critically reflect and look back on where you've been. Otherwise, you're destined to keep repeating the same mistakes. This is the infinite evolution. Embracing your past experiences and using them to build, evolve, and even create something better. And it all came down to being honest with yourself. Well, first off, in order to do this, you need a way to document the most important parts of your day. Your brain and memory are critical if you want to ever achieve your best, but they're not perfect, and sometimes they need a little bit of help. Throughout the day, as you're thinking, pondering, reflecting, and just analyzing everything that occurred, what if you began to write down the aha moments that you have so you don't lose them? What if 5-10 weeks from now, you're able to go back to this very day and see what you were thinking, see what took place, and learn from the mistakes of the past? When it comes to our cell phones and visiting certain websites, they don't simply delete your data, they track every single thing. They study your movements, your patterns, your behavior, your thinking, all of it in order to make the best informed decision possible. But if these corporations who don't care about you personally are willing to take this extra level of reflection, how dare you not do the same thing to honor your future? Personally, I started using a journal with about 6 key components. You can add or subtract to it, but as long as you have some way of tracking what's going on and what your mindset is throughout the process, you're gonna win. I start every day off with gratitude, then the goals I want to achieve, the habits I want to be consistent with, notes and reflections on the most important parts of life, and then I close it out with 3 wins and 3 lessons that I can take from every single day. But you don't have to be this detailed. If you simply wrote a few goals and then how you felt after, things you discovered throughout the day, that might just be enough. But either way, you have to have a way of tracking what you're doing, otherwise you're losing it. So whether or not you decide to track and keep accurate data about what's been going on, time keeps moving, nothing is gonna stop, and every single day that you throw away is a chance to get better, is a chance to learn and grow. How can you improve upon something if you don't even recognize what you've been doing? How can you change and evolve if you won't even recognize your current state of being? By recognizing how important your past is and its ability to shape and craft your future, that's when you start to unlock special. All of these changes are done by recognizing just how important your past is, especially when it comes to changing your present and creating a better future. And it doesn't matter what industry you talk about, business, athletics, education, social media, you name a platform, you name somewhere where somebody is making money, being successful, living up to their best, there's some tracking going on. There's some reflection taking place, because if there isn't, how do you keep up? In a world full of competition, where some people are fighting just to survive, how dare you throw away one of the most precious pieces of information you have? Your data, your information, your past is far too precious, and we can't allow it to occur. Understanding this is how you become better, but to ignore it is how you remain stagnant or even begin to slide back. Daily journal reflections are absolutely a choice. Writing down goals and tracking whether or not you got it done is absolutely a choice. Nobody's gonna make you do it, nobody's gonna press you to do it, but if you do, your life will change. When everything is random and you just let life happen to you, that's exactly what occurs. Life is in control and it feels like you're a victim. Everything is happening to you as opposed to you taking any sort of accountability or control over what your destiny becomes. But what if there was a better way? Daily journal reflections are a choice. You deciding to document the most important discoveries and moments of your day. And it seems like such a small and really simple thing, but for the next 30 days, just try it and see what happens. What happens when every single day, the most important things are actually written as data and I go back and reflect on them. And that's the other thing too. It's one thing to write them down, it's another entirely to read what you wrote and actually take a look back at it. There's plenty of stuff that you may forget during the day, but when you write it, it can't be lost. And once you go back and read it, that's another level of synthesis, another level of reflection and analysis that you have in order to get to the best result. But are you willing to be that deliberate and intentional with the details details of your life. Most people won't be. We're talking about the good, the bad, the momentum, and the stagnation. All of it, because all of it plays a role in who you are, who you're becoming, and where you're gonna end up. Why not take that extra level of precaution to make sure that it's where you want to be and not where somebody else places you? Our abilities to honestly reflect and take action will decide our fate. Will we choose discernment or even more chaos? Honesty in progress or comfortable lies and indecision? You get to decide, and not just through your words, but through your actions. Let's be honest. Many adults are walking around with the wounds of their childhood, still living as the same person they were. Our past often seems irrelevant because it's gone. But the reason we consistently repeat the same mistakes is because we refuse to properly reflect on them. This is a really powerful piece of information. This actually means you're not a prisoner of history or even a prisoner of the moment. You get to decide what your fate is, because right now you've been given the beautiful gift of the present. But what are you doing with it? Maybe you failed the test, you bombed the interview, and that sales pitch went absolutely horrible. Don't make a bad situation worse because you refuse to learn the lesson. Because maybe, just maybe, that lesson is the blessing itself. Maybe the reason why you're going through it in this very moment is so that you never have to again in the future, or even better, so that you can help others and prevent them from going through what you went through. This is the infinite evolution. At first glance, especially the younger you are, you feel like you know everything. You learn that some things require deeper analysis, a little bit more thought, a little bit more reflection. And if you don't honor that situation with the appropriate intensity, urgency, intentionality, and discipline, you don't deserve to get whatever it is, because you haven't been working for it and you haven't taken the actions of a person who's serious about it. Because over time and with more experience, we learn just how complicated life can truly become. And without a system where you can analyze what's taking place, how do you ever make sense of it all? How do you make sense in a world that could be so chaotic? You reflect. Honestly, intentionally, consistently, and with the patience and understanding that not everything has to be figured out in this very moment. The first day of a tragedy hits a lot different than 1 year later, which doesn't minimize its importance or how significant it was, but it does give you time to heal and think and process everything that may have taken place. Maybe you played more of a role than you think. Maybe you need to give yourself some grace because there was nothing you could do. Either way, that time and reflection coming together is one of the most beautiful things we have. Don't miss out on it. In the immediate aftermath, emotions are often high. The pain is new and the wound is fresh. And it'll probably take some time to truly process. But years later, once you have time to learn, think, reason, and look at the situation from more of a top-down perspective, not being so close to it because it's so intense, that is often the place where you get your biggest breakthrough. In the moment where it's actually happening, it may be too intense, and you may not be able to get anything beneficial from it. And even years later, you still may not get something. Sometimes it takes 10, 15, 20 years. Sometimes it takes 10, 15, 20 minutes to know that you could have done better. The question is, how long do you wait to open your eyes and see what's right in front of you? That's when your analysis becomes far more comprehensive. You have the perspective, time, and experience, and once you're not so close to it, now you can actually do something about it. Think about the heated argument you get into with somebody you really care about. In the moment, nobody's listening. When you got two people yelling at each other, nobody's really communicating. When two people are going back and forth and shouting and screaming, whose message is really being received? Effective communication becomes almost impossible. But 5-10 minutes later, an hour later, when you have time to think, that's when you can come back to it and you can see, maybe I could have done things better. Maybe I could have handled things differently. It takes two people to argue. Maybe if you step back a little bit, things would have been different. If nobody is forcing you to argue, when you know how powerful your words are, when you know that they can cut deep and they can penetrate somebody's soul to the point that they don't forget it for the rest of their life, you begin to become a lot more reflective. You think more about the things you say, and you're not so quick to judge and spew venom when you know it isn't necessary. This is where discernment comes into play. Sometimes the dynamic is reversed. Sometimes you look back, maybe you needed to step up. Maybe you needed to say something. Maybe you needed to take action and you didn't. When you can honestly look back and give yourself the grace, time, and patience to look back and reflect on whatever occurred, that's when you're able to make the change for the better. But can you be honest with you? Just because a seed was planted doesn't mean that it has to grow or that you have to continue to water it. Be different, because if you can't be truthful with yourself about your past and the adjustments you need to make, how will it ever take place? If you won't be accountable to the way you choose to spend your time, you don't get to complain about the results because you haven't been true to the process. This is the infinite evolution. The past is often the most accurate indicator of the future, but just because the past is gone doesn't mean the future is written in stone. You still have time and opportunity in order to make something happen, but only if you choose to wake up, be honest, and reflect on the things that have been taking place in a reasonable time frame, so that you and the community that you love get the best out of life. And if we can learn to tap into its immense power, we can change not only our lives, but the lives of our loved ones and the future of our community around us. This is the infinite evolution. Long periods of time to reflect can be powerful, but you may not always get it. Sometimes you only get 10 or 15 minutes in order to make the right decision. Have you been practicing honesty with yourself? Have you been practicing critical reflection on whatever took place? If so, your opportunity is waiting. If not, you may just miss it. If you've been given 1, 3, 5 years to reflect on the very same mistake that you keep making and you never make the adjustment, who can you blame but the person in the mirror? Be honest with you. Show yourself love through action and take inventory of what's been taking place so that you don't repeat the same cycle that has you where you are, or so that you maintain and elevate when you know that it's right there within your grasp. This is the infinite evolution. Long periods of time to reflect are powerful, and because time is as precious and unpredictable as we think it is, you need to take advantage of the beautiful gift that you've been given, because you don't know how much more you have. You may not get 10 years to reflect and give that apology. Do it now. You may not get 30 weeks to reflect and look back on what you could have done better. Do it now. If you're waiting too long, you're also losing. If you're procrastinating too consistently, you're setting yourself up for failure, and you have nobody to blame but yourself. This moment here, right now, the present, is the gift that keeps on giving, because even when it passes, it still leaves remnants of what it takes in order to be successful. The only question is, how long will you take to wake up and realize it? In this moment here, choose to be wise. In this situation, choose to be honest, especially when it comes to the role you play in creating your present situation and the immense power you have to make a difference, and to your chosen level of conviction when it comes to your honesty about everything that's taking place. Your past is waiting on you to reflect. The future you want demands honesty. The only question is how you honor them by taking advantage of the present in order to turn dreams into reality. This is the infinite evolution.